What's going on? It is Monday, February 20th. Um, Going on 11 p.m. Day is almost over. Back though with another session of the Thoughts Out Loud experiment. Um, Hope you guys had a great weekend. Mine was a little extra long. I took vacation on Friday and vacation time on Friday, so I have a 4-day weekend because, of course, we had the federal holiday today. And yeah, I had a it was a decent weekend. I got a lot done. I actually did something that I've been wanting to do for a long time, and completed or posted a YouTube video. Took my first crack at something I want to do um, with excuse me, something I want to do with movie reviews, Korean movies, for my Korea related page or Korea related channel, Seoulweaver. I'll link that up in the description if you guys want to check that out. I'll hit the table when I put my hand back. Um, but all in all, pretty a decently productive weekend. I don't know if it was so productive. It it definitely could have gone a little better. I could have gotten a few things that I want to get done, and I'm actually going to talk about that today. Um, it was a long weekend. I could have gotten some marketing done, like not marketing like advertising, but marketing like reaching out to other people. One of the things I wanted to do this year, one of the things that's the main focus in the first part of this year, is to reach out to people who are operating within my same space and talk about doing collabs and talk a little bit about possibly doing guest posts on each other's blogs, just getting in and mingling a little bit or kind of making some arrangement with one another's audience. Um, it hasn't quite happened yet. I've only reached out to one person this year, which two. Uh, well, one of them reached out to me, so I've only reached out to one person this year, and this weekend would have been a great weekend to kind of find some time, sit down, and make that happen. Today would have been really good, but I spent most of today doing doing a little bit of self improvement and listening to some podcasts and kind of doing some reading or doing some audible and trying to figure out or just trying to compete with myself from the day before. I want to spend this week competing with myself from last week, so to speak. Um, but it was kind of a laid back weekend. I could have pushed it a little bit on one of these days that I had off that I would normally be at the office for 8 hours. I could have pushed it a little bit and done something. Today doesn't seem like it was terribly productive. It's not. It wasn't unproductive. I mean, I listened to a few podcasts, a couple of chapters of the book I'm reading. I'm currently reading The Compound Effect, and but I but this idea of marketing, it hit me like as I got up. So here's what happened. This is where the marketing comes from. Let's go ahead and backtrack a little bit. Mom hit me up yesterday. I was asking to chat or something like that. Told her I was busy doing something, but I got back with her today, and we have like the topic of the latest Seoulweaver video with that I did with my son happened to come up, and I sent her a message, told her about it when we did it. I A couple of days after I posted, I noticed she hadn't said anything about it to me, so I posted it on her Facebook wall. I sent it to my brother in, in an email. A lot of different, a lot of different family version of marketing uh, attempts kind of happen, right? And it's just a sign of how busy this world is, or how loud the internet is, so to speak, or how noisy it is when it comes to trying to get your message out there. This is my family, man. When they see stuff from me, they're like, "Oh, Will is hitting me up." And I don't. I'm overseas. I don't really get in touch with him that often. It's like there are days in between when I reach out, when I go ahead and ping them and see how they're doing and things like that. Usually, a few weeks have passed in different interactions with them, and that's kind of a lot for me. I want to cut that down. So I think, and it's a lot for them. I think they want it to be cut down. So I think there's a lot of, I think if they see me, they'll take the time to stop and see what I'm sharing. And my mom said, I think my mom mentioned that she saw it, but she didn't go check it out. And then she did like the mom thing where she said, "Oh, what is it? How do I get to it? Do I go to your website?" No, 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 it's just a YouTube video. Oh, so do I go to YouTube? Yeah, yeah, just type DIY Korean snacks into YouTube. We'll pop up. Oh, okay. Do I type that into the web browser or do I type that into YouTube? Just type it into YouTube. Sometimes dealing with your parents, man. So I've my mom always seemed a little up on the latest technology. I never really looked at her as like just like an adult that doesn't get how things work, or like an older person. I don't want to call my mom's old, but you know, an older person who just doesn't know how this new technology is working. So it's like when stuff like that happens, I'm like, what is going on over there? But she's still. I mean, after three individual highly targeted attempts from me, her oldest son, her eldest son, but she still hadn't looked at it after all three of those, and it got me thinking, like, man, marketing is so tough in this noisy world, and even when it's pinpointed like that, like directly in between family, it's it's still it's still hard to get seen. My mom's ain't gonna check something out that I posted on her wall. How do I get people who don't know me from Adam to really check out what I'm putting out there? And it's easy in the same spaces, right? Like it's easy, and I'm gonna capitalize on that space one of these days. I'm gonna go and I've created a web page or a Facebook page where I'm going to compile, get the other guys that are doing the vlogs, like Harris with his Inside My Mind, and Anthony with the Third Thing in the Morning, and other people that are doing daily vlogs that probably we don't even know yet. I'm gonna get with those guys, get and do something where we post all that on one page, and then that way we'll at least have our own community of daily vloggers that are going jumping in and doing their little vlogs or doing their little doing whatever it is they do every day, and we can kind of feed off each other and like share information with each other and kind of get that community thing going where that's kind of what we do. But for people to get yourself in front of other people who otherwise wouldn't see you, it's just becoming harder and harder. Um, so that's not me bitching and complaining about things getting harder. It's just me making a realization that I really have to. Oh, so mom's came back when she saw that. She was like, and it's kind of funny to imagine what I just said. Three attempts. I think I sent it to her in a message, or I sent her a message saying to check it out. I sent her a message. I posted it on her wall. I posted the link on her wall, so the picture was actually there. And one other attempt, maybe trying to get it to her through my brother individually. In any case, after all that, she comes back. There's 55 views on the video, 53 views on the video. She comes back and she says, "Hey, you need to market this more. There's no views on here." No views, man, because when I tell people about it, I don't check it out, man. That's coming from somebody who got three direct attempts from somebody very, very close to her that still didn't go check it out. No offense to moms, of course, but it's like, excuse you. Yeah, so but she's right. I do need to market it more, but I'm not comfortable marketing the way I think I should market. So let me break that down really briefly. This probably should be a separate video. Probably shouldn't be a thoughts out loud. But from what I've read about marketing, from what I've learned about marketing over the years of like kind of jumping out there and watching the best do what they do, it's real noisy. Um, and it's real noisy, and to anyone who isn't the target audience, it's almost to the point of noise that's annoying. It's almost like it's an annoyance to people who aren't falling directly into that category, or aren't your target audience. You're just like trying to get it out there. You got to push it out over and over again. Tweet it 3 or 4 times. Tweet it. One of the guys or one of the people who was doing marketing said they'll tweet. I was listening to a podcast episode. And he was saying they'll tweet when they put out a blog post. They'll share it in Twitter like 6 or 7 times. Like it's like at specific intervals. Like they'll use Buffer or something. Buffer is a sharing, like a queue. It's an app that's a queue that allows you to share. You just fill up your Buffer and it'll just share stuff over time. And what they'll do is they'll go into something like that. It's actually not Buffer. What is it? ConvertKit or something? Not ConvertKit. I can't believe I forgot what that was. But it was really it's kind of expensive for what I do. Anyway, he shared what the system does. You can do it yourself. Just you have to set reminders for yourself, or just remember to come back and do it. They just share things periodically, over and over again, and without they completely forget about that thing that everybody has already seen me share this. Because that's what I got in my mind. In my head, it's like people have already seen me share this once. They don't want to see me share it again, and it's kind of funny because they haven't seen it, or they saw it briefly, and they saw it while they were just scrolling down through their Facebook feed, and a reminder wouldn't really bother them. One reminder, or even 2 or 3 reminders. Um, but even people who want to check your stuff out, if they saw it, they might not have had the wherewithal. It might not have been an ideal time for them to go in and actually view or read your post or watch your video or listen to your podcast episode. So the lights got me sweating. So yeah, man, it's crazy to think that in my head I'm holding myself back and saying, oh, I'm not gonna market this stuff. As I'm not, I want to market this stuff. No, I'm uncomfortable noisily marketing these things in this noisy world. But you just get drowned out, even amongst somebody's closest family. So that's something that I'm thinking about, and something that I'm thinking I really have to stop this whole, get over the whole, I don't want to oversell myself, not oversell myself, but I don't want to make so much noise uh, and annoy people, right? Like I just have to get over it and go do whatever it is I need to do if I really want to get my message out there. That's easier said than done for people like me. Like I just I'm already a little introverted, and if you take what if you take what was taught to me while I was in the army, with them drilling like operation security into your head and things like that, it took me forever even to get on social media. I didn't see the value in it until I started interacting with people coming across people I hadn't seen in years, and finding out they were like here in Korea or something like that. Be like, well, I ain't seen you in years. Where you at? Are you in Korea? But yeah, it's an adjustment for me, and I have to make a conscious effort to go and do things like that. So what I'm doing right now is I'm slowly trying to convince myself or force myself to go share a little bit more often without considering that annoying thing. Like I've convinced myself to kind of share in a way where, particularly on Facebook, on Twitter, I should just tweet over and over again because nobody really sees what it is that you do. But on Facebook, for some reason, I have this in my head that everybody already saw me share that once. So like I'm making myself tweet, or I'm making myself share on Facebook with the impression that, or with the knowledge that I know everybody's sharing this before, or everybody saw me share this before. They didn't. But even with that in the back of my head, that was a week ago. I can share again. And that's what I'm doing. So I share things, like, for example, for my podcast, I'll share it in my individual group the day it posts, or the day I post it. And then I'll come back next week and share in a couple of other groups that aren't mine. That way, I not only do I get the people who are in my group like a little bit of advance notice, or a little bit of an advance, like they get immediate access to the stuff. Everybody has immediate access to it, but they get told about it first for being in my group. That's like the benefit of being in my group. Then I share it in other groups, and then they can get it. And then at the same time, I'm sharing last week's content uh, this week, and then sharing last week's content on other people's platforms or groups this week, and then sharing this week's content in my group on this week, and then so forth. We'll go on, and I got like two different categories in the back. So up to 3 weeks after I post a podcast episode, I'm still sharing it on Facebook, like for the third time in a row, and for the third week in a row, and it still makes me uncomfortable. I'm still like, I mean, I think the same people see it over and over again. Like, I think Chance Dorland he's a broadcaster, another podcaster that was here in Korea for a while, and he was in Korea for a while. I think he went to Australia real briefly, maybe for a year or two, and he's gonna come back. But he runs his own podcast called KFM, Korea FM, and he runs a host of podcasts over there, a network of podcasts over there. And I think he sees what I'm sharing a lot more. But I don't know. You never know what Facebook feeds are, what the algorithm's doing on the Facebook feed. So marketing, man, it's just I know I have to do it. I know I have to get it figured out. And I told myself it was going to be a major part of what I do this year, at the beginning of this year, because I know a big problem with, you know, a big problem with me, a big problem with me getting my stuff out there is the fact that I don't want to stand on top of, I don't know, stand at the top of the stairs screaming out with a megaphone. I don't know why I don't want to do that. I think the pride of my content is good. Like I think my latest video that I got on Seoulweaver, on the Seoulweaver channel on SWYTCh, I like it. Like I'm happy with it, and I still have to force myself to share it. Like, guys, check this out. Guys, check this out. Because I don't know. I guess like maybe it's something internal where I feel like if I'm trying to overshare it or if I'm trying too hard to share it, people look at me like lame. Does that bother me? Mm-hmm. I don't care. And to be completely honest, those people who would do that, they aren't in my target demographic anyway. So why do I even care? I don't know. I'm having a hard time with sharing, with marketing, and it goes. I think it's something that I really maybe it's something internal that I got to deal with, right? Because it goes beyond marketing. Well, I was on here a few days ago talking about my difficulties that I have with just reaching out to people. Like I really need to. And part of it, what it is I think I don't not need. What's the word I'm looking for? Like I don't crave attention. Like I have to go out of my way to crave attention. Oh man, this has been a long episode, a long session. So anyway, that's what I'm struggling with. I'll come back and talk a little bit about it more later. Chime in with whatever you think. Leave a comment if you like this. If you go through the same struggles, go ahead and hit that like button. If you have any advice on how to get over it, or how to cope with reluctance of over marketing yourself, marketing yourself as loudly as you have to these days, leave it in the description. Leave it in the comments. Leave a link. Let me know because I greatly want to find sources that will get me over that. I'll probably look at it and come back here and do a little update on what I found to get over this because it's something that I need to work through quickly. So that's it. We're gonna go ahead and end this session. I mean, it's 18 minutes long. My DSLR is about to cut off in a couple of minutes. Yeah. Subscribe if you want to see more. Thoughts Out Loud happens every day. Supposedly didn't happen on Friday. My bad, but it's part of my routine. Whatever the hell happens in a day, evening routine today. So, all right, we'll see you tomorrow with another episode, another session of Thoughts Out Loud.